I helped building up the first German-speaking newspaper ever on the internet. I was top 6 in Vienna for mathematics.
Okay, once you solved it, then you will no more interested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If the market is shaky and uncertain, go back to Bitcoin. You have to get enough funds that you sustain the next bear market. That should be a goal. It's what was my first job, throwing parties. So I organized some parties even in the main city hall of Vienna for like 10,000 people. It was a lot of fun.
That's that. And then you were 16. Trump show kind of helped you to accelerate the things.
And it was very interesting seeing the .com bubble crash, and we were lucky that we survived.
So hey everyone, welcome back to the aVIRAL podcast, and today we have Chris with us. So yeah, I would love you to introduce yourself.
Sure, happy to. My name is Christoph, but most of the people call me Chris. I'm a co-founder of MC² Finance, in developer since more than 20 years already, exited 2 startups, built up a lot in the event space, big conferences, and in the crypto and blockchain scene since about 6 years now. Okay. Focusing on how to push and bring the space forward.
Got it. So going a bit back to your early life and your childhood, so where were you born, and then how was your school life? Were you a serious student? Yeah.
So born in Vienna in Austria in the middle of Europe. And growing up there, and was, I guess, a good student in school itself. Like I was top 6 in Vienna for mathematics.
Okay.
And there was a competition, and my math teacher said, "You have to try it." And okay. And then I got actually 6th place. But I think it was luck. It was not so like I love math and numbers since the beginning. So it was not that I trained so much for it. But then I then wanted always to understand how things are working. And so I did a technical higher school where you can basically like learn more than like it was. If you look at like wheels or something, how do wheels turn, how is machine working, and how is a mixer run?
From the first principles, basically.
The first principles, they were easy, yeah. But then it was like, why has a monitor colors? Like then it was this huge CRT monitors, and you wondered, how does they actually work, you know? And then this LCD, the small ones came up, and I said, what the fuck, yeah? And so that interests me. So I made HTL for Elektrotechnik, as it's called in Austria. It's basically a higher technical education.
Okay.
And in the 3rd year of it, I understood it. I knew how electricity is working when you have like a 500 meter cable, you plug it in and immediately there's power on the other side. And so for me, and then also understood why monitors are working, and that kind of the mystery was gone. You know, and then I said, okay, but the school was for basically making an electrician out of me. And that was very far away from the jobs I wanted to do. And so I failed in the first class. I repeated it and I thought, okay, let's try it, because everybody says you should finish school. And in the 2nd year, I then deeply thought, what do I actually want to do? And electrician was far, far away from one of my dream jobs.
Okay.
And so
how you got into it? Like you were just fascinated about those monitors, and then you started it?
Yeah, like I did like normal higher school, and I was fascinated about how electricity and technology is working. Why are machines actually, because they're already very complex even like 15 years ago. And so I wondered how this is all working. And so I wanted to learn that, and school is a great way.
Yeah.
And in the 3rd year, I knew then how these things are working and how these mysteries were solved.
Okay, once you solved it, then you were no more interested.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then my school grades went down like crazy. Was not interesting anymore. And so, yeah, needed something new.
Got it. So moving on, like, did you join any college or like what?
No, I dropped out actually, like I repeated the 3rd year and then I dropped out. And so I was basically 16 years old and told my parents, okay, this school is not for me. I here have 5 jobs I want to try out.
Oh.
And after I tried out these 5 jobs, I know what I need to do. And if it's then like studying for it, etc., then I will do it. But I'll need for a year to try it out. What was my first job? Throwing parties. I mean,
Okay.
16 years old, like teen, what do you want to do? You want to throw big parties? So I organized some parties even in the main city hall of Vienna.
Okay.
For like 10,000 people. It was a lot of fun.
That's and then you were 16?
Yeah.
16, 17? Okay.
Yeah. I was not the main organizer, but I was one of the core teams organizing such events.
Okay.
And it was super interesting. Did that basically for a year. And that was also the year where I started development.
Okay.
And which was very interesting. I mean, back then it was super tough and super early. And then basically I went to the newspaper across from where I was living and said, hey guys, you need a website.
Okay.
The son of the founder of the newspaper, like a classic print newspaper, said, oh yes, we need a website.
Okay, this was like near the .com bubble, something like that, or like
that was before the .com bubble. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was very early. And so I helped building up the first German-speaking newspaper ever on the internet.
Okay. So what languages you used for that?
So every morning we were getting the newspaper pieces, we put the HTML together, and then we manually uploaded it to the server. That was very interesting, and then for sure we started to automating it. It was then ASP.NET, also ASP first, then ASP.NET, VP script, so like very old things. If you want to have more advanced modules, and it was a lot of mess with getting all the servers up and running because you configured that the same way and they did something totally different. Back then in the very early days of basically Web 1, how to get a website live. And it was very interesting and very challenging, like running the website when there was a lot of traffic because you kind of had the servers you own. So you need to configure all that.
And then what was the source of information back then, like books? Or like, for example, you are stuck somewhere, you have a bug, you're not able to...
We had so for the news itself, we had a team of 60 news journalists active everywhere and providing us basically the news constantly. So that was nice. For learning, it was a lot of it books actually. There are some books I would still recommend every developer to read, even if it's an ebook.
Well, what's that?
Like for example, there's one I really like. It's called The Mystical Man Month.
Okay.
It's from the 60s and it proves why software development will always be complicated. So we solve more of the basic things, but on the level we compete then with the others, because like if I have a website and you have a website, we compete against each other basically.
Got it.
And the more tools we have now with AI, we just compete on a higher level.
Absolutely.
But we still compete. And so it basically proves in the 60s already why software development is always complex. And it also proves why adding more developers to a team will not make a project faster.
Okay, got it. That was interesting. And then, I think the thing you mentioned about, so it's very tough for people, like for students to draw out if you don't have a plan. Like if you want to like kind of convince your parents if you want to drop out or something like that. So it's like, so in your case, you suggested you had a plan that you have to work with events team, and then you were throwing out parties, but then this was for like 10,000 people. So I think, currently I meet people who are kind of in college, and then they are kind of very confused regarding they are not able to convince their parents. But then if you are not even that confident to like what your goals are, then how can you convince them and then do something? So I think it was
the typical when you are with the university, it's like more chill. Other people figure out what you should do. So to learn a long time, and then you should have an understanding, and then you should know things, and then you should start your job. If you drop out early, especially very early, like I was like 16, 17, the challenge is you are only your own limitation. It's your bonus, but also your challenge, which means like for event management, I had good mentors and so on, but especially then in development. Like I developed on the day, I learned on the evening about what it actually was. Like there was some challenge, like I wrote the Bayesian filter. I didn't do the math behind. I didn't learn that in school, like it was higher math needed for it. So I needed to learn what is the Bayesian filter, what is the math behind. I needed to learn the math, and that took me then like 3-4 evenings really going through it.
Yeah.
But for me, it was so much better because I knew why I was learning it. If someone in school, a teacher would say, hey, make a Bayesian filter, I would say, why do I have a need?
Yeah, you don't have any motive, right? So that's why it's very selfish. Yeah.
But then I was in a newspaper, there were a ton of comments. We kind of needed to make sure that these comments are filtered. Like, how can we manage it? So we needed a Bayesian filter. And then I knew what I was doing. And then I was motivated to spend like 3 evenings and nights to actually figure it out, do it right, and then make something cool out of it.
So yeah, like I think that 2 things here. It's something like a deadline that you have to finish everything in that. So you're kind of motivated to do it. And then also something like, it's like when you have a goal, then you are more motivated to kind of complete it as compared.
For me, it's the purpose. I'm a very tough learner when I don't know why I should learn things. If I think it's not important, I'd rather focus on other things. But if I know the reason and the goal is really valuable, then I love to push in and give like 200%, where other people then just do the normal 100%.
So it's something similar to like what project-based learning is right now. So you have a project and then you have some targets, and then so that's amazing. So what after the newspaper website? What after that? So
I stayed there for 5 years. And it was very interesting seeing the .com bubble crash, and we were lucky that we survived.
Okay.
We got an offer for absolute crazy valuations, and lucky us, the founder of the newspaper said, oh, it's not worth that, and declined it actually.
Okay.
That's why the newspaper survived. Otherwise, it would have gained a ton of money, and then all crashed afterwards.
Yeah, that was a smart move, right?
Yes. Then after 5 years, I saw that like it's more repetitive. It was again, I don't know why I should have done things, why I should move things forward. So I saw I need to do something different. I then for a year supported a consultancy where we worked with one of the top telecom providers in Austria to create news emails for the first time on your mobile phone. So you had an old email address, you needed to forward your email to this address. The email address costs you $5 a month.
Okay.
And then this email address was visible and could be read on your phone, but you could not reply to anyone.
Oh, okay. But just you were getting email like as news updates.
Yes, for the first time you got news on your phone. I mean, it was 2003, so that was very early for everyone to read emails on your phone.
God.
And it was interesting, it was fun. And then actually some other people approached me and said, hey, there is this new company building up and it's growing fast, and it's a sports betting website.
Okay.
And they wanted to have me and to push forward, lead the mobile team, because I did mobile before and nobody figured it out. And so I joined it then, and basically...
Which year was that?
That was 2004.
But, okay, so a mobile app company selling betting apps, something like that?
There was a web company who wanted to have mobile apps as well. And back then, 2004, it was all black and white fonts. You had like up and down, or you have the keyboard with 1 to 9, and that was it. And then they wanted that on these phones, you basically can bet on soccer games or even ping pong matches. And so they're super fast, and that people can have the time while live matches to actually bet on it.
But then what was the, like, which currency, and then what was used as a mode of like exchange there? Like, you had to bet something, right?
Yeah, you can get an account, you can load your account, you can even pay with your, that was a huge thing, fully integrating into the network providers.
Yeah.
And so you could just basically pay with an SMS. You got an SMS and you replied, yes, I want to. and already your bet was there, and you directly got paid out on your phone as well.
Got it.
So that was actually very smart, but it was from the infrastructure extremely challenging, because debugging your phone when you only press up and down,
Yeah.
challenge.
Yeah, I remember so I remember only that part. Like you can basically load up your SIM, and then you can opt in for certain kind of ringtones or something like that. So okay, in a similar infra, you had all of these betting apps and things. Oh, nice. So yeah, how was your experience there?
It was like, I would say, very painful working with a lot of these telecom providers, but very cool being on the bleeding edge of technology. And like, what is the maximum you can do with this minimum tech? Like one very important CEO said on the Mobile World Congress that we made a Ferrari and push it through the technology of like a children's bicycle.
Oh, okay.
So the technology is the Ferrari behind, but the display was always only the children's bicycle. Like, okay, how can you push that through? And I was kind of out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. Like, yeah, you have been kind of doing everything which is like super trending at the time. So yeah, then what next? Like, you were bored with this as well, or?
So the company grew massively, like was big time and was super, super interesting. Another thing that I learned, like I always was the tech geek inside. If there was a super big challenge, then people said, oh, Chris would solve it.
Ah, okay.
And
yeah, I said your bio. Yeah.
But the company grew very fast, and the founders had a very interesting culture, because they were always about nothing is black or white, everything is a shade of gray. Be very clear on which shade you're on, and how can you push it forward. So there was no problem that was not solvable. But you just need to figure it out under what setting it would be solvable and how can we create. Which is a very interesting approach. And the whole company, when I joined the first 4 years, was feeling that mantra. You know, like we could change the world, and saying, oh yeah, let's buy some soccer clubs. Let's make a new sport category. Let's figure out what kind of sports could we make popular. Like that was a project. It was super interesting.
Yeah.
But then after 4 years, the founders moved, because it grew so big, like 4,200 people, moved more into lobbying and with different countries to extend.
Okay.
And the next level behind them were basically people who were just managing everything in time and in budget.
Got it.
And it took 3 months. That was like wow, one of the first times I truly understood how corporate works.
Okay.
In 3 months, it changed from we can do everything to doesn't matter what it takes next month, just make it in time and in budget this month. If next month we need double the time for fixing the bugs, nobody cares. It's not focus of this month.
Oh, okay. Because the founders moved on, and then the
founders moved on. The next level of the hierarchy was then present. They had different priorities because they were hired to manage, to lead. Yes. So I understood how important leading is, and it was like for me a wow experience. I did then one last project with the company where we recreated how the front end is working. Then basically...
Which year was this?
That was then, I left in 2009.
Then like iPhones were there, right? So like, so that's why the front end for that?
No, I was then technical lead of core services. So basically I owned all core components of the company with my team. So like I also grow with the company basically in this regard. Got it. And left, and that was the time, 2008 was when startup weekends came up. So like...
But then it was also like 2007, 8, 9 was also like a financial crisis. So did that affect as well, like the company?
Not so much. They had a merger with another big betting company, so it was consolidation phase of growing companies. And that changed a lot. They like had then a lot of double infrastructure and so on. It was just, it wasn't challenging anymore. It wasn't interesting anymore. It was like, hey, let's manage everything.
Yeah.
That's not so interesting. And that was basically the time Startup Weekends came out. And Austria needed to add also startup infrastructure. Everybody said Facebook, the best startup ever. We should make startups. And so I supported them organizing Startup Weekends.
Is it like a show kind of thing, similar to Shark Tank, or?
No, it is like Startup Weekend basically works like 100 people go into a room Friday evening. 15 of them pitch an idea. Hey, what about this? Yeah, what about making...
So random people coming in?
Totally random people.
Oh, okay.
Hey, what about this cool foodie startup? Hey, I have this tech idea and so on.
Got it.
And then all the 100 people join this 15 to build a team over a weekend. It's just temporary. And the goal is to push as forward as fast as possible, because on Sunday evening, there are investors coming who then you have to present with a deck, with a prototype, etc. So it was kind of get every phase of a startup as fast as possible for the weekend, so you get a feeling of it. It was not about that, the startups were not ready to invest on Sunday, but you could move forward much faster and therefore have yourself an experience how much you can actually do in 3-4 days.
Got it. So it's something similar to hackathons what we have now, like
Yes, it's basically what you would now call a hackathon. A hackathon is more techy, and it's just a tech solution, not a business solution. Startup Weekends were more for the business solutions.
Got it. So you joined them to...
Yes, I helped some organizing, and for sure, as it happened, I found then a co-founder of that who I then created my first company with together.
Okay. Which one was that?
That was called iJoule, and it was an app. The longer you're using, the healthier you're living. The core thing is it was behavioral psychology, and the basic concept is if I nudge you daily, if I remind you daily, then it's probably very likely that you stick to a habit for some time. And if I just nudge you long enough, then the habit will continue even if I stop nudging you.
Yes.
So it had this like kind of tiny rules and nudges, like for example, drink a big glass of water after you wake up. And then every day you got a push notification with an info of why is this important. Like for example, if you drink it every day, then in a month, you burned as much energy as running a half marathon. So you can decide, do I want to run a half marathon or drink a glass of water every day?
Oh, that's interesting. Like providing them insights about why you should do this. So that's to motivate.
Yes. So there's 4 or 5 behavioral tricks, and we used all of them and to get you to do it. And there were like 100 rules in the app. And if even out of them you did 10, you had a much better and healthier life.
So like it had a monthly subscription or something? What was the business model?
Yes, the idea was the first one was free, and we wanted to do then version 2 and give people a monthly subscription. But we then had some partners who more or less screwed us. They promised us too much. We totally focused on working with them in the mobile com sector. And then they said, oh yeah, we don't care about it anymore. And then basically we ran out of funds and needed to change. But it was very interesting. Learned a lot also, like how to handle partners, how to handle marketing, first startup.
Yeah, because you are the first co-founder, you were there. So yeah.
Yes, first try. And then afterwards I ran the Startup Weekends, but on the move.
Okay, like you were like figuring out different stuff as well as managing something.
We launched from Amsterdam, Sunday, 8 in the morning. There were 30 people on the bus. Nobody knew each other. And people said, hey, what is my idea? Let's get it started. Let's make a startup. And you go again in teams. Then you were driving off through a ferry, and we were then in, I think we drove to Oslo, but I'm not sure yet. But we basically drove to the Nordics. Then we had their dinner. We presented our ideas with the local startups. Next day we went for lunch in Berlin, presented there our startup ideas, and then we had already pitch decks. And then we drove to Zurich and presented at the Google headquarters, and already got the prototypes. And then we drove to Paris, and there was one huge conference in Paris, and on stage we basically presented the finance.
So was all of this aired as well on the TVs, or it was just
it was streamed, yes, but it was not fully aired on the TVs. Like, there were a lot of ideas how to grow it. Like, the biggest one then was in the US, where we had 350 people in 11 buses meeting all together, come from all over the US, meeting then at one place for the finals.
Yeah, and then it would be something like what hackathons have as of now, like, so company is sponsoring it, and then and then
every batch was sponsored by another company, so they were like supporting it with some experts and so on.
Got it. And that's a fun method to do it, like keep on moving and then traveling to different places. That gives you more ideas as well on the move.
And you get to see a lot of ecosystems. Like, the startup is, and I think it's as a startup founder, you should be where it's most effective for what you want to build. It's the easiest way to 10x your startup concept if you're in the epicenter. And if you're not there, then you make it just harder for yourself. And you could say, oh yeah, but my family is living there, or I was grown up there, or I have some friends there, or I know this one journalist in this one country I was born. It's different. The feedback, the mentoring, the advisory, it's 100 to 1 if you're in the epicenter from.
Yeah, just like now we are here. So
I mean, that's also why we're here at the Network State and the Network School, because of so awesome speakers coming around, really clever people to meet every day, who actually know what we are doing.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what was your next move after startup weekends?
Then I was starting a real estate search engine.
Okay.
And the goal was that we were the first ones who used machine learning, which back then it was then called machine learning. Now you would call it AI. And it had an ontology behind. So we basically identified words who suggested things, and so out of a standard text that a real estate agent would give us, we could extract all the details, all the neighborhood information, and therefore can make 100x more personalized search. Like, one of the key things that I tell founders often is think about what makes your company 10x. If your company is just doing 2x, like a little bit more benefit, and here with a little bit more clever, you probably will not make it. I mean, B2B, if you get one big client, that's a little bit of a different story, but definitely direct to consumer. If you're not thinking about how you can 10x your competition, you will have a very tough time.
Yeah, we discussed something similar with tennis as well, like this 2x versus 10x mindset.
Yes.
So it's actually very useful if you want to like implement or do anything in life. So yeah, whether it be startups or health or like anything, you should be figuring out ideas how you can like improve that much. But otherwise, like if you are aiming for a 2x, then you would be just tweaking your lifestyle a bit, which won't let you to get even 2x. So,
but also like you need then to pay 3 times more for customer acquisition. Then your users are easily moving somewhere else. You have competitors who can take you over much easier. So like you make your life much more harder, and so you need to have some edge, and so think of the 10x first.
Yeah. So like how did this perform? Like the real estate engine that you like, the search engine.
There were some very interesting stories. On the one hand, we were 3 techies. Typical, it was my living room. We're all having this as our office space every day, coming together, hacking together our first website. And we said, if we make a search, if we make this ontology, the whole like machine learning AI thingy, and get it to work, then a ton of people will come. And 4 months later, big conference in Austria, we printed T-shirts where we've written on it, "Pray for investment."
Oh, okay.
And he said, yes, investors will talk to us and come to us because, hey, we are ready for investment. And for sure, nobody did.
Were there more competitors, or like what was the
No, it was not. It was not more competitors, but it's like how you attract investors. It's like investors are not looking for a great startup. Investors are mostly looking for who recommended them something interesting. So you need to get your right mentors in place, your right multipliers, and they have to talk to the friends who are investors. Then you have it very easy to fundraise, and that's the key to be. Like we had friends, we had mentors and so on. But it was very interesting. And we then 6 months later raised the first round.
Okay.
And then one of the investors who invested, he looked at what we did. He was a super deep techie. It's really great to have him on board. And he looked at it and he said, okay, basically we make a search, we just crowdsource out of the internet every real estate property there is. And he looked at our technology, which always, it was not perfect. Back then AI was very bad. So it was a lot of fiddling every day. And he said, okay, guys, if I would sit 6 students every Monday who go through all new properties who came on the market and make it perfect, wouldn't you be faster?
Okay, yeah. But then it was...
And it hit us. He was right. It was this thing of do things that don't scale, which is popular, but most people don't understand what it means. Yeah, we built for a year a super amazing AI engine, which was only 90% perfect. And then there's this guy coming saying, hey, if you would have had 6 students in a week, you would have had perfect content instead of building it for a year. You could focus on a website, on customers, on grow, instead of focusing on a ton of tech, which never is perfect.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what is the core of do things that don't scale. You need to figure out how to present the product as fast as possible to the right user. And then work out the things behind. Because if you hit product market fit, you have it, every tech problem becomes easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so have you watched that Silicon Valley, it was a TV show, I guess. So in that as well, there are so many things which can be relatable to a startup, and it's the investor thing as well. You should have an investor who is kind of promoting it, and then so other investors would kind of FOMO in and then invest much more than So and then the second part is to find a product market fit. So that
is exactly the same way. Most of the startups where Balaji invests in, it's because it got recommended by other people in the area. So it's actually tough to get directly an investment from it, mostly because someone has to say
is leading
hey, can I join as well, because you would give great advice. I think it fits yours as well. And then he says,
yeah, it's mostly some lead investors leading the round, and then he chips in some. Interesting. So and then what was your next move from the real estate engine? When and which year was this?
That was, I moved away, I think, 2040.
Okay.
And then moved actually, a friend of mine, he built of a project which was about value-driven marketing. Also super interesting concept. Value-driven marketing basically is if you only push your values and never your message.
Something what Apple does?
Then it's a lot about what Apple does. Then people come who actually care about the same value, even if your product is not ready yet.
Got it.
For example, I once heard this great guy who made new earphones, and he was the first one who made a triple in-ear earphone.
Okay.
With 3 receivers. And the guy was on stage and talked so passionately about the tech and why it would be so important that it increases your quality if they figure out how that is happening and how that is working.
Oh, okay.
And after this talk, I immediately went and bought the earphones without comparing it to anything, because I said, that's exactly what I think about audio. And so I knew that he will care about what I think about, even if maybe some other phones were different or had a cool brand, and it was not the popular brand back then.
So like, did you build a startup around that, like, or?
The idea was to build a startup around it with a team and editors to make magazines for companies. But it then became, over the first year, directly more or less a consultancy.
Okay.
And then basically I left after a year again.
So like, you were based in Vienna then, or like you should?
Yeah, it was actually in Hungary. So we built a company up in Hungary.
Got it. So, and then what next? When were you like introduced to crypto? Because it was like,
I actually, before that even, like during the real estate company, because we had such a huge tech team, a lot of nerds, we tried out mining with one of my old machines.
Okay. 2013, 14?
That was 2011 even. 2012.
Okay.
And the app constantly crashed. Like every day I woke up in the morning, like I go to sleep, it's super noisy. And I woke up in the morning and the app crashed.
How like the app crashed in like the
mining? Mining back then was an app which runs on your computer. But the app was like very bare bone, very basic, and because it's tried to use a processor, then there was the idea it could use a graphic card, etc. But most of the time it crashes, and so because you were not part of a community back then, it was super tough to mint a Bitcoin because of it's constantly crashing. Like I need to have the fees, so I got some Bitcoin, but then like actually I cannot mint more because of the crashing things. So it said too much, and I sold everything and said,
Got it.
So not very successful, but at least I tried it out. I found it very interesting. I read the white paper.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was super interesting, but then like we got the investment for the real estate startup. This probably is the better idea.
Yeah. At least it's not crashing. So yeah, cool. And then what was next? How was?
And I moved then to said, okay, a little bit enough about startups, and to do something different, I digitalized conferences.
Okay.
Especially one in the middle of Austria with more than 5,000 people coming every year, and a lot of head of states coming. Okay. And you can see the head of states in the bar, in the basically mountain Alps bar, talking about their ideas and so on. And you can, because it was very remote, people stayed there. And so you could talk to Ban Ki-moon, to presidents, and to Nobel Prize laureates, and you could go with them for lunch. Because they had time, they were there, it was super interesting, and a lot of philosophy discussions.
Got it. So like you got to make some good connections there, and
yes, some very good connections.
Yeah. So like this was a digital kind of thing, so it was streamed, or?
So it was actually only in person. There was nothing digital. Some short things were cut out. And that was one of the challenges, because they saw that the time is changing, they need to adapt, they need to modernize.
Yeah.
And before it was that you could send fax to actually sign up to the conference, and so on. And so a lot of things that had to be improved. And it was very interesting to digitalize and to see also challenges of conferences.
Got it.
And was a pretty cool time.
And then so what was your first crypto, like a startup or a thing that made you come back to crypto then? Because
so there was a layer 1 chain who was focused on fashion and culture, building social networks. And they asked me to support and to advise them. Like actually, what was before is my partner, also my wife. She started in building up investment funds. It's basically first one in Vienna, then in the one in Munich, where she supported the team in building up the deal flow pipeline and startups.
Okay.
And on the second one, one of the partners always wanted to invest in blockchain and crypto.
Got it.
And so she got a lot of the deals, a lot of the understanding how they're working. And as I'm the techie, I get then always the questions and saying, hey, what do you think about this tech? How is this tech working? And so I spent then also the time to truly understand crypto. And
so this was around like 2017?
That was 2018, 90.
Okay.
And and basically that was the time we both more or less went down the rabbit holes to truly understand what does crypto mean. And she also, with the company, invested into Sorare, which was the biggest Series B ever in Europe.
Okay.
And it was basically soccer NFT cards, so you can collect.
So we'll just got it.
And we thought this is as retail as it gets now. The masses is there. Crypto is ready for going mass market. And we decided we want to be fully into the environment. And so we stopped everything we did in two web tech events. I fully moved into the crypto space. Worked then, for example, with the layer 1 for fashion.
What was the name?
It was One Chain.
Yeah, okay. Got it. So it was like this NFT collection was in partnership with this One Chain, or okay, got it. And then in 1819 there was an NFT boom because of CryptoKitties or something, and then it kind of went down.
Yes, I still have my CryptoKitties. I think I have 20 of them or something.
Okay.
Don't think that they're anyway worth. I never looked at it since like years. If they're now worth millions, please tell me.
Yeah, we can check it after. And then, how...
It was very interesting to see how the idea of CryptoKitties was very interesting.
Yeah. So, and what was the idea behind your NFT project around the one that you did the partnership with?
So there it was that if culture moves on-chain, then how can you actually delegate culture and delegate reputation in culture settings, which basically was also on social networks with each other, and how can you build on top of each other with staying fair that you who contributed to basically the final creation. And it was very interesting. We then built an accelerator for culture. I think we were the first crypto accelerator ever to build our culture. I got some quite big and great partnerships and some really nice startups.
Got it. So it was more around like music, sports, culture, and then events, fashion.
We did a lot of fashion startups. We incubated. Like were the first ones with like fully realistic avatars.
Yeah, metaverse.
Worlds. Like Nifty was one of the projects. We had some famous ones.
Got it. And then what next? I think there was in 2021 or something, everything went up. So, what was your strategy in investing in crypto? And like, because you were doing accelerators and then investing in projects, but then everything was kind of very shaky, right? So, what was your strategy?
I think in general, it's for me always looking at the fundamentals and the fundamentals of projects. Is there an on-chain use for a project itself? If there is, because most of the projects, there is this phase, this gold rush phase of a super growing market. You can just throw money anywhere and it may roll because the world has FOMO and there's a limited amount of available. Like even if Bitcoin should become a world's currency, it need at least to go like 500,000x in value.
Yeah.
So will it become one? Then it definitely will get 1000x. Will it not become one? Then it doesn't need to be. And so that was the same with a lot of the cryptocurrencies, like if you have 1 million people who want to go into it, but so far only 5,000 people own the currency, for sure everybody 5,000 people will get rich.
Yeah.
And so that's challenging because a lot of the basic rules are different. And a lot of people hope that, oh, I don't need to contribute to blockchain because I just wait out until the next gold rush happens.
Yeah.
And now, like 4 years later, it did not happen, and everything is kind of disappointed on why didn't it happen. But in the end, if you focus on the fundamentals, you always know before what of the projects will actually grow forward, which will lead. Because if you have true on-chain economics that are working well, then you definitely will do well if 1 million more people come into the ecosystem. Yeah. On others, maybe there's like, rug pull, the founders decide to fight, or there's a hack. But there's a lot of things where things can go wrong.
Yeah.
And so I'm always looking back at the fundamentals. And if the market is shaky and uncertain, go back to Bitcoin. Because a lot of people think about what was the why Bitcoin, because it cannot do anything with it. But the benefit of Bitcoin is that invented the concept.
Yeah.
And this invention is worth a lot. And so it's the default currency who never had a hack and still works very similar. So you can be very sure that if you have a Bitcoin wallet and you have it safe, that your assets are safe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then, what was the other categories you were looking on apart from, because in the beginning you were kind of more into events and then culture, music, and then NFTs, and then they got a major hit, right? During all the categories got a major hit during the bear run. But then, what did you learn from your first bear season or something
So what did I learn from the bear season? The discussions are very different. And the most interesting thing is you get to know the true builders. Because they still discuss. Everybody else is gone. So you go to a small meetup and you actually meet 10 really interesting builders. There's no marketing guy who is trying to get all the contacts. And so actually it's a very nice experience to build in a bear market, if you can. So that's the challenge, and you should, especially now as we probably will hit over the next 1.5 years, the next peaks, you have to get enough funds that you sustain the next bear market.
Absolutely.
That should be a goal. It's not like to make the max money now, whatsoever, but the project needs to survive. And if you do that, if you focus on that goal, then I think you will do well in the bull run afterwards. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And it was also very interesting to see, with Marine, actually, my partner, she was on the advisory board of the BBC during that time as well. And we successfully stopped that the BBC creates their own blockchain.
Okay. Were they planning to create one? Or okay. And this was in 2019 or something?
It was, I think, 2021.
Oh, okay.
Everybody created a layer 2, everybody created something. And there was the discussion of, would it make sense to have a national blockchain, that a country creates their own blockchain? No, it doesn't make sense. Because the thing is, it should be public verifiable. Why should you have a national one? You should build on top of existing infrastructure. That's why it's public. And
absolutely. Yeah.
And so was very interesting on the time. We also worked with the European Union on DAOs and online communities and how that is working. And we understood how bureaucratic the EU is. I thought it's there is bureaucracy. It's very big, so not very complex, but it's totally going under in bureaucracy. So it's very tough for the EU to do something in a way.
Yeah, but I think now with Trump kind of pushing the narrative to some sense, the other countries would also try to copy it, and then the things Trump is doing is kind of very different, by launching a meme coin. But
the thing is, he's changing the speed. Like it's by far, and I'm not a super big fan of a lot of the things of the activities, but he's changing the speed, and this clearly changes the narrative. And also the world had a rule set where everybody had its place, and if you don't move too much, then you can be safe that this exists over the next 20 years as well. And the EU had a very comfortable place where they don't need to play in world politics. And so the politicians could rather discuss things inside, fight with their opponents, instead of actually doing like interesting policy work.
Yeah.
And so on that hand, I think it was clearly a wake-up call for the EU that they now need to act, they now need to do things. And I think we will see that they will do things very different moving forward, because they cannot rely that much on the US anymore. So they need to make different partnerships around the world.
Absolutely. And then, moving back to the categories that you were interested in, apart from like after your first bear market. So when again
like the best part is building a bear market. And we had an order book layer 1 who asked us, like basically 3 years ago, why is decentralized finance not catching on? What's missing? Why is centralized finance, back then it was like 1,000x bigger than DeFi? And what's the problem? And that was a super interesting question. And we got with our team together and started answering it. And the core thing in the report is institutional compliance and simplicity of use. If people needs to know always what chain is it on, what DEX should they use, what bridge should they use, and they all have super weird names, then we will not onboard the next 100 million to the crypto space. That will not just happen. And on the other hand, if you want to go to big capital, it needs to be compliance to institutional regulations. Because if institutions say, oh, I just cannot use it because I'm not allowed to, or I cannot put my LP funds on your platform, it doesn't work. And we interviewed basically all top DEX founders. Like we also talked with Chef Moji, for example, from PancakeSwap. And they said, guys, you cannot leave that as a report. You have to make a company out of it. You should go forward. You should actually make a product behind it. That's basically how MC² Finance then was born.
No, which year was that?
That was I think it was at the end of 22, if I'm right. Time moves so fast. It's crazy. And so basically there was then a question how to make it institutional compliant. And that's something that we worked on a lot in the beginning to understand also regulations and what are the challenges. Like we interviewed then more than 300 hedge funds to understand what can they actually invest in DeFi and what not, what would they like to invest in and what not. And then basically discovered that if we would make regulatory compliance structures, fund structures, then they would love to be much more active in decentralized finance, because like DeFi has a unique access to yield. It's a much purer yield because there's much less middlemen. And so even for stable coins, you can get 11, 12, 13% in return. And if you go then into DeFi and on top of different assets like Solana, you can get 12, 30% in return. If you do it right, if you know what works, what is a safe option, what is risk averse, so which is compliant for institutions.
Got it. So, but was it like what was the steps that you follow to like, because it was very like all the countries and then they have different regulations. So which countries did you focus on, and then to like even these hedge funds while they were kind of getting ready to be because it was kind of you were kind of getting money from TradFi to DeFi, right? So what was the structure behind that?
The key thing, so I love to first principles. I love to focus on how will the world look like in the future, and then actually look back. So we discussed, okay, how will it be in 20 years? How will the world react? What will be different? And especially looking at what would be the same. I think that's a huge opportunity for all founders to think about what are the things that never change, what are the things that you have to do the same way, because you should not break down all the walls.
Yeah.
If you run 10 different innovations for the first time in your company, only one needs to break and you're gone. So you should not innovate everything. One of the things we figured out is that even in 20 years, most of the capital in the world will be in private banks, in pension funds, family offices. That will not change.
Yeah.
And in 20 years, we still don't want to have a private key to manage the wallet and put the money on chain. They will not like to work with custodians. They want to keep the same infrastructure they're having. And so it was clear from us, if the most innovative financial product will be in DeFi, then we need to make a highway that connects where traditional finance loves to work on and then where actually the yield is. So we said, if we are able to list a DeFi strategy as something on the stock exchange, on traditional stock exchange,
or something,
which gets a number, then actually all these investors can invest into DeFi structures. And now, after more or less 3 years of work, we finally got the pre-approval so we can launch our first ETF.
Got it. When is that? Do they have a timeline for that, or?
We plan it towards the end of the year, so it definitely happens this year. We've planned it that it probably needs to happen only 2026, but we got actually traditional markets to move faster, to get super interested in what we are doing. And so we're ahead of our timeline and kind of started already this year. And we are now basically finalizing what are the strategies that we are launching, what are the right partners, and getting done in the second half.
So the Trump show kind of helped you to accelerate the things?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. Every time the Bitcoin goes up and hits the upper 15%, things are much easier. And it's really, really interesting. And if it drops 20% below all-time high, then things get harder again. And it's from one day to the other that people just stop responding and say, oh yeah, let's move it a month away. And it's so surprising that this wave still is there, because everybody knows it's coming back. But still, then people go on holidays or whatever. And so I think the main one was actually last year when institutions like the ETF were launched.
Yes.
That showed us that our success, that this will be successful. Because the BlackRock ETFs, they give you asset exposure. So you can invest in the asset, but they don't give you yield exposure. And yield is what makes DeFi. And what we can do is give you asset plus yield exposure. For example, on Solana, there are ETFs with 650 million assets under management. They only give you asset exposure to Solana. If you stake it, you get 4% more. If you then actually auction off the voting, you get another 4 to 8%, depending on the conversation, more, which means we can offer investors up to 12% more returns than just holding Solana
as an asset.
Typical ETF. And that's amazing. And you can do that with other assets as well. And you have all these other competitors, and then we have the highest yield on top.
Awesome. Yeah, that would be interesting to see in the future. And then people would love to diversify their investments, and then this
exactly. And if it's on the stock exchange, it's very easy for you. You need the ISIN, you write to your bank manager, you say, hey, I want to put $1,000 on it, and you can put it on it. And if you don't like it anymore, you say, hey, I'll remove the $1,000 again. It's fine. No? And that makes it for you extremely easy to invest into DeFi, because you can do it directly from your bank account.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it makes sense. In order to onboard the next 100 million, we will have to make it more simpler. And then similarly, so I saw like you are also advising a account abstraction wallet company, and then like what's your take on that? Because you are like trying to bridge the TradFi and the DeFi space, and then also kind of look interested in simplifying the wallets.
Yes.
So yeah, what's your take on that?
We built our DeFi terminal exactly on that topic. So the core thing that we do with MC² Finance is we crowdsource the best wallets on the blockchains, and then list these strategies together with the strategy expert on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
So the idea is everybody can join our DeFi portal, showcase how good they are as a trader.
Okay.
And if they're good enough, then we help them to list it on the block exchange. We pay all the fees, and they have then the nice benefit of getting exposure to all the traditional finance get. Which means our DeFi portal is extremely important for the platform and for the future. And we have there now 28,000 users on the platform. I think it's about 200 million of assets under protection. So it's not our management because it's fully non-custodial. It's decentralized. Everybody has their own wallet.
Got it.
And that's where account abstraction comes in, and especially also intent-driven trading. The challenge is how you have to sign a transaction on what you actually want to do. Is if you have your assets on one chain, you need to change the assets, you need to bridge it to another chain, you need to invest into a protocol, you need to make 4 or 5 signatures.
Yeah.
And how we did it, especially with account abstraction, is that you can have multiple assets. Like you can say, I want to buy Bitcoin, Solana, and some base meme coin tokens. Everything like 33%, I'm going to put $100 on it. And I have my assets only as, a meme coin existing on BNB chain. And with our technology now, you can just sign it with a single signature. So it's the same on a centralized exchange. You say, hey, this is what I want to do. You click a button and I say, do you really want to do it? You need to confirm it with something.
Yeah.
And then it executes it. And we can now give you the same experience, but stay fully non-custodial. So which means there is no centralized part that takes control over the assets.
Noted. Yeah, that would be interesting. And also like the AI agents which are coming up, they are also kind of AI agents on top of wallets and then things like that. So those are also making things very easier for the normal public as well to just give them an instruction and then it kind of does everything.
But that's how the future should be. It's crypto is inherently complex. Everything about it is complex. But people want to have it simple. And so it's our job to make it simple. It's not that we can educate them better or like throw them another 500 videos that you need to read overnight to finally get it.
Yeah.
No, it's our job as builders to make it as easy as possible. And I totally agree. You start with an AI agent, you ask them questions like, what is the token you like? What is currently trending?
Yeah.
Hey, here I have a trader. Is the trader actually making good trades? That's exactly what we built our AI agent for. And that you can ask them all of these questions. You build up the people you like, that you follow, who maybe have interesting ideas, which helps you build your own strategy. Because you see maybe out of the 5 people you follow, 3 people just bought this token. Let me look into it. Let me research it. And maybe I want to buy it again. And then it starts to be your personal strategy.
Yeah.
And then when you want to have the strategy, you should just with one signature have your token, no matter where it is on a blockchain world.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, but the final, they can say, piece in the puzzle would be the regulations around this. And then if that is somehow like all of these different countries kind of agreeing to a single thing, then it would be the...
Yeah, but that will not happen. So countries will not agree to a single thing, and that's something good. The key thing is decentralization. And decentralization protects diversification. Innovation happens in a diversified world. If you have anything homogeneous and strict and only one thing is allowed, then you can have a very tough time to innovate in that area. So with having different countries with different regulations, then you have easy to innovate because you always find a country where you can do whatever you want to innovate on.
You'll find loopholes and then build better strategy.
And then you prove that it works, and then you convince other countries that this is the better strategy. And so we've run basically 180 experiments in the world on each of these countries to figure out what is the next trend. Like even in government styles, there were like every 150 years, the government style totally changes in the world. Because there are experiments, like and liberalism was like on this before the Second World War. There were 4 countries in the world who were liberal, and everybody said it's a lost cause. Please don't have your country do that. And then it kind of became the most popular one. And now it seems that traditional liberalism has to change again, because like how we are as a world country seems to be evolving over it. And let's see what's next. Like it seems that like especially every time that a lot of like uprisings and challenging times happening, people love to follow a strong man, which is very typically what we see also around the world happening more and more. It's probably not the right governance structure. Yeah. And that's also super interesting here at the network school, how to build the next government structure. And we start with a centralized, let's say, strong man to get things built up, to get things into a state. Yep. Many times can be decentralized. So to come back to your question, regulation is super important. What we did, one of the key concepts is we have single responsibility partnerships. So it's about 8 different regulatory groups that we fall into when we list a DeFi strategy on a stock exchange. Yep. And for every one of these, we have one partner who is really good at this one thing. And therefore, we can simplify the problem. We can reduce the problem instead of, everything is done by us and we need a huge team. We have exact partners, and these partners can change per country.
Oh, yeah.
So when we have another country, we maybe need a different partner to do other things there. And for sure, countries will also have different regulations, what kind of tokens are allowed, what kind of strategies will be allowed.
Yes.
Like US is so against staking and nobody knows why. And so we can adapt the framework. The success from our company is not because we launched 5 ETFs. The success will be because we are the most adaptable one. So in each of the countries, in each of the stock exchanges, we can launch what they are allowing, work with their partnerships, and then working with them to tell them why other strategies should be listed as well.
Got it. Yeah, that's actually the best thing to do as of now, because all of these countries having different regulations, and then you'll have to cater to the audience accordingly. So the governance part that you talked about right now, and then we are here in the network school right now, and so I would like to know how you came to know about this, and then your first interaction with the network state or something like that, where you saw it.
Actually, we were in January already in Bali, invited by the Solana Foundation to the Solana Temple.
Got it.
Was 1 month there. Also a small build a community together, moving things forward. And it was one of the organizers who told us, hey, the network is happening and you guys should apply.
Got it.
And so we looked at it and we said, yeah, sure, sounds interesting, why not? Actually, it was more because it happened to fit also our schedule, because there was next to none information available. One of the things that really convinced us was how Balaji actually put it out on what kind of topics he want to have discussed, what kind of lectures we want to have at the network school, and he's about, that's really different, that's a curriculum that totally fits what we really enjoy.
Yeah.
And so it could be very cool to stay there maybe for a month, let's see. And we came, we were surprised about the community, about the culture. It were some very interesting talks, and how they optimized the setting of living. It's you don't often realize how many manual things every week has in your day-to-day life, typically what you need to organize, and how much of these are here actually taken care of by default.
Yeah.
And so you can focus more. You have more focus time. You have more time to focus on what you care about, like doing some sports or organizing a tournament.
Yeah.
And so it helped us a lot, also push the company forward, make things much better.
Yeah.
And this is something that we really, really enjoy doing. And so we definitely stays our moments.
Got it. And then, how do you see these network states evolving in next 5 years? And then there are so many pop-up cities which are also coming up. Like I've heard about Prospera, which is also doing something similar. But then, they have been here for 4-5 years. And then, how do you see these network states evolving?
Like it's for me, the general concept, and as you can discuss it as a special concept, or as the general concept of these like states in states.
Yeah.
And I think it's a natural progression of closed communities, because you want to feel special, you want to feel heard, and you want to have a setup that fits your needs. And especially with the growth of the digital nomad community, it was very tough to find a homeland. Probably every digital nomad was once in his lifetime in Bali. And it's totally messy there. It's like crazy on how things are structured, how the traffic is.
Yeah.
But it's also tough often to find a community in Bali because of the sheer size and the craziness. It's not that you have a very easy way often to connect with everyone.
Yeah.
And so having a smaller community is actually here highly beneficial. And the other thing is, as I talked about, that I think there's a huge opportunity also as a business to solve all the challenges of a community who don't feel at home where they were born.
Yeah.
They have some like unique travel logistics and other challenges. And so if you do that very well, then actually they typically also have more capital available to make a great product. And so I think this is a very clever way of like involving the system and building it forward as a lifestyle. But that's exactly not what like the network state wants to do, and 2-3 of the other concepts who want to more or less create a high performance environment to build something that actually can like bring technology, bring also like mankind forward. And so I think that's a great way of combining that as well. Because how we built things in the past will probably not be the right way how we can build it in the future. And so if you have like crazy tech company, then you probably in 5 to 10 years will have to choose which is your like network state hub or similar concepts. There you think you feel most at home and where you can actually push product forward. Because you will need the support area that you only get at these things we're actually living.
And then also, what do you feel these things would progress in the future? Because like there are so many nomad communities which are currently going on, and then of course we don't want to centralize something, but then won't it look like a dictatorship kind of thing in the future if there is a single brand which is kind of evolving all around the world? And then
so culture happens for the rules we set in the community. It's like if you have full total true anarchy, then you cannot live together. There is just no way. So you need to start with self-rules.
Yes, absolutely.
Here, these communities, these network states said that the current rules are not fitting anymore. Let's make new ones. So, and you need to have a small group who says, oh yeah, let's make this rule and this rule and this rule. Yeah. And they said it. But it's also that they know if they want to cater to the audience, they need to keep them open. They need to keep like the eyes and the ears open to what the community is suggesting. And I'm sure that since the network state version 1, now we have the version 2, which they're already improving like every month. There's like a 2.1 version more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And they are changing the cultural rules. So I think that you need to push forward with layout an idea that people say, let's try it out.
Yes.
And then you need to start adapt and never stop learning.
Yeah, I think we'll have to be flexible in the beginning in order to see how things are going, and then keep on iterating and improving them with feedback and fixing it. So, yeah, and then, what's your goal here? And then, because you have stayed here for 1.5 months now.
I think that you always need to give back to every community that you're in. And the team here is very open to fix. So like yesterday, we built all together the summer. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we organized over this weekend the first
NS Cup,
the competition of 5 different sport games.
Yeah.
And I think that you should play an active role in shaping new societies. And so if you want to be an honored member of it, you should contribute. And I think that's a super interesting topic on how can we help out, how can we support it, that we really like to do, even that we have a lot of work with our company, because like they're now going into the next phase, preparing to launch the first ETF. So we talk to a ton of hedge funds and family offices. They discuss what are their solutions, what they would like to see, make our plans, finalizing all the regulatory documents and informations. So it's a lot of calls and a lot of time that goes in while building the DeFi platform with like we have the team now of 15 people. So a lot of things going on, and it's very long days, but due to that, the setup is done so well.
Yeah, and the structure
can achieve a lot more in a week's here than we can achieve somewhere else. So that's a great start. That's something that we enjoy, and especially as long as the times are very intensive, it's probably a very good setup and being somewhere else.
Perfect. Yeah, I think, I would also love to have a home like this in the future. Cool. Yeah, I think with this note, we can wrap this up. And
I think that they also plan that in autumn to extend it with different types. So it's not just a room, then you can have also a flat or maybe the house.
Yeah.
This area here has all of this available. So it's not so complex to get it done. And if the community grows and it works out well, I'm sure there will be also nice opportunities there.
Yeah, I would love to have a network school passport which can help me travel, and then because Indian passports are kind of weak. So
yes, the visas, which are very random thing how governments set up.
Yes. Cool. Yeah, I think we can wrap this up.
Thanks.
Yeah.